See. Like RB now. It was Robert is recording the call. Yeah.
Okay, good. Cool. Now the good thing about this is I can download it and then we can add like an intro and all that later. So this works.
Yeah, just make it for ourselves and then you will do if you want to do it.
So one thing, did you find I just want to know, what are their birthdays?
I send you birthdays to Hangout chat.
Oh, right. I think I closed that. Okay, 1 second. So Poroshenko is a Libra.
Yeah, it's the very beginning.
Julia's Sagittarian. Right?
And comedian guy is Aquarius, yeah.
Is Aquarius.
And youngest.
Yeah. So I just want to write that down just so I have it. You hear me? This is actually going to be very interesting. So just to review, I'll do
Julia and Vladimir. Comedian guy is Vladimir.
Okay, so I'm going to do Julia and Vladimir.
And I will do Pyotr Poroshenko.
And Julia is a Sagittarian. She's a Sagittarian. Vladimir's an Aquarian. And Poroshenko is a Libran, like you. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Excellent. So let me get ready. I have my cards. You have your Rider-Waite cards?
Yeah. You want to? I use.
No. Let's both. Yeah, I think much better we both use the same cards because it'll make much more sense.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna do this looks good, like this. You look great as always.
Thank you.
So let's begin. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna do a tarot reading for the Ukrainian elections. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we have Olga, who is going to read for Poroshenko, and I'll read for Julia and Vladimir, the three top candidates, right?
Yeah. And we will use Celtic cross or what?
Yeah, we'll do the Celtic cross.
Celtic cross. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we're both using the Rider-Waite deck.
Yeah.
Now, the last poll, I just looked at a poll in the news like 10 minutes ago. Basically, Julia and Poroshenko are tied at about 16%. And Vladimir, the comedian, he's at about 25%. So the polls say that he should win, but both Julia and Poroshenko will enter into the next round. Right? It's 2 rounds, I think. So let's do this reading for the whole election, not just for this round. Who's going to become the next president? Okay?
No, I don't understand. We will do, or you will do the first.
Right. I'll do the first reading. But I think
for whole, you mean not?
Yeah, the whole thing. Who will become the next president?
Okay.
We're not going to worry too much about the political details. And honestly, I'm not that informed about what's going on exactly. I haven't been paying that much attention. So this is kind of just a general reading. What do the cards say?
Okay.
It's not so much us. It's not our opinions. It's what do the cards say? Because honestly, I don't really know that much about Ukrainian politics. So it's what the cards say.
It's like situation. And it's development of this situation, okay?
And I think it's good in a sense because, at least from my sense, since I really don't know, and I don't really have any big opinions or feelings toward any of these candidates, it's more what the cards say. I'm pretty objective.
Uh-huh.
There's not somebody I want to win or want to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be kind of interesting. Sometimes I think when you're objective, it's a little bit easier, no?
Mm-hmm.
For the cards to speak. So I'll go first. I think it's better. I'll go first, then you'll do the reading, and then we'll come back on the. So I'll go first. I'll go with. I'll do Julia first. Okay.
Excuse me. Could you? You will do. But I thought you decided to make the general reading at first.
No.
Oh no.
Oh no. I'm just gonna do.
Okay.
We'll do each
Okay.
one. So I'll do Julia, then you can do Poroshenko,
Okay.
and then I'll do Vladimir.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So what I'm doing is I'm shuffling the cards now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking of dear Julia. What I always remember about her is that hairpiece she wears, that traditional hairpiece.
Now she didn't wear. She doesn't wear this, but
She's changed her style a little bit, no?
yeah.
And she's a Sagittarian, which is interesting. You know, Sagittarians, I think, of all the signs, are probably the most intellectually sophisticated. They're philosophical, legal, they have good minds.
Yes, she is, and very good, and very strong. How to say temper?
Yes. They're very direct. Usually they're blunt, you know, to a fault. I can just tell you, in American politics, it's much easier for a Gemini to become a president. Kennedy was a Gemini, Trump was a Gemini, or a Leo, you know, like Obama, Clinton. But Sagittarians sometimes are too direct.
She's
They're
a
not.
revolutionary. I think this is my opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
agree.
for management, but for destroying. Because she was a prime minister, as I remember. She was.
Right. And also, I think, like, for professors, you know, like sort of the professor that can tell you, you know, very directly, but for politics, sometimes it's not the greatest sign.
But, I think she's very good to break their limits, to go out from the limits. Yeah. But Aquarius is very strong as well.
Yeah. And Aquarians exactly also they're very revolutionary. They like change. They always like doing things differently. And then we get Poroshenko, the Libra, who's like you know, very diplomatic. Putin is another classic Libran.
Classic. That's why I understand Putin. I think sometimes much better than people explain him, because I understand. Yes, I know what he's doing now exactly, because I do in my
Yes.
small world, but I understand him very well psychologically why he may do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes when people look at Putin. They think, oh, he's this tough guy. He's like a dictator. No, he's balancing all these different people and power. And he is very, very Libran in that sense, where he can keep everybody.
Yeah, it's like a center is very, very tough, very strong, but it's all time it's balanced.
Exactly.
But I think, honestly, now many people criticize government and so, but I think he had the chances, really, because he is a Libra.
Yes.
But it's difficult, very difficult time. But maybe even now, I think maybe honestly he is the best candidate now, not any, because too much revolutions for our country, too much.
You mean Poroshenko, or do you mean Putin?
No, I am about Putin. No, let's think about Julia.
But we're on Julia. But just one more point there, which you always have to keep in mind with the Libran. If the power in the country changes, a Libran is able to adjust. They can move and become friendly with the new power, you know.
Because it's like
Sagittarians would be no, but no, Libran balance.
Because and it's yes, it's right, and yes, it's a white color, but now it's not this, but
It's a
this.
little gray.
It's so great. Yeah, it's like a compass or something. Like it's not nothing about that's a law. It's false or true. No, it's like it's like an indicator. Indicator. Yeah, maybe
And that
people.
would be very different than a Sagittarian.
But Sagittarian is only black and white. It's my mom, I know. I know what's true. I want to say true.
Yeah.
Time to time I say, Mom, nobody knows, nobody need your truth. Sorry. And this truth hurts you as well. Yes, I know, but it's true. Yeah. This is Sagittarian. Yeah.
So let's think about Julia a little bit. And she's had a very interesting political career, personal life, her family. Yeah. There's been a lot of corruption, a little bit with her daughter, and there's been a lot of strange things with her in her life. But she's a political survivor. She survived all of this, and she's still there. You got to give her credit.
Yeah, she's very strong. People said, I remember that the most most strong, not strong.
The strongest?
Yeah. The strongest man in Ukrainian politics is Julia. I'm sorry, excuse me, but she has the biggest balls in Ukrainian politics, really.
I mean, think of all the. Do you remember when? What didn't Yanukovych put her in prison? Didn't she go to prison for 6 months or a year? Remember, they put her in prison. She was in the wheelchair in prison. Really? She survived.
And plus, she is a very very female at the same
very
time.
Very feminine.
And she feminine, and she uses it.
Yes.
She uses
She's a very powerful woman and a survivor. And so these people always have a chance. So I'm shuffling the deck on Julia here. And Olga, do me a favor and tell me when you think I should stop.
Stop.
Perfect. So now we're going to look for a significator, okay? So I go to the bottom of the deck, and I look for the first queen. And the first queen will represent Julia Tymoshenko in this reading.
You can find some king as well for you, Julia. It's good.
But very interesting. I kind of like this Queen of Pentacles. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but because even she's not blonde. She's
no.
Yeah.
Really? I'm in shock.
Yeah, and she has Armenian blood.
Oh, she's Romanian. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But because is it real? She's.
So remember, Pentacles represents Earth. So this is a very kind of down-to-earth, material-based. And we should remember that there were a lot of scandals with her and money, no? No, so she's in it for Ukraine, but she might be in it for herself, too. We never know. Politics. There's usually some money involved here. Okay, now, here's the deck. We need to cut the deck, okay? So I'm going to lift my fingers from the bottom, and you tell me when to stop, all right?
Stop.
Very quickly there, Olga.
Maybe I didn't understand.
No, good. Yeah, I lifted my fingers up and done. Excellent. So this is what we're going to read from, okay? One thing when I do readings, when I get to this point, right before I read it, I always like to look at the card at the back. Very interesting. Now, this isn't a traditional method, but I always look at what card emerges at the back, okay? Death. A transformation. It doesn't really, it has no direct impact on the Celtic cross, but it gives me a sensation of what's going on here, okay? That would mean that this is some serious transformation. And usually, I think in all politics, when a politician has a lot of experience and they come back, sometimes it's the beginning of something new, and sometimes it's the end of their career, right? So this is crucial. We're asking the question about Julia in this election, the general question. What covers her gives us really the more specific question. What's the issue here, right? The Page of Cups, okay?
It's the first position, you mean?
Right. This is what covers her, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, this is interesting. Of all the pages, right, this is cups, so it's water.
I can't see you. Could you?
Can you see it there?
Okay. Now, right. I remember this card. Okay.
And it's very interesting. The one interesting thing about this card is, you see how that fish is coming out of the cup?
Uh-huh.
The Page of Cups is always something, a lot of people think it's like news. So it's like her, and I think what this card means is she's trying to go back. She's trying to go back to that young Julia, and something's coming out here. But as a reader here, this card is her. The Page of Cups is her trying to find that old spark, that old success, because there was a time when she was, I mean, the most important politician in Ukraine, right? But it's interesting, Page of Cups, something's going to come out of this, some news, something new, okay? So that makes this card very clear. What is blocking her from going back, capturing that old Julia magic? Interesting, right? The Nine of Swords, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now remember, swords is air and it's the mind. So as we go from the ace, right? The Ace of Swords, sort of pure thought, down to earth, the 10. Remember, the 10 of Swords is death.
I remember the 10 of Swords.
This card is real anxiety. Real anxiety. That would indicate that she is very, very anxious about this. There's something going on. There's something going on that has her very worried. Because if the idea here is to recapture her youth, her past success, what's blocking that? Real anxiety. What is that anxiety about? Obviously, we have no idea. We can't ask her. But there's something going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the origin of the question, where did this urge to re-enter, because it's a presidential election, right? Where did this desire emerge from?
This number third?
Yeah, this is at the bottom. So
it's
below. Yeah, I go below. Okay. People do this differently. I go below, then above, then left, then right. Very interesting. Now we get a major arcana here. We get the Magician.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is interesting. The way I do readings, the court cards are people. So when I see the page, it's a person. But when we get the magician, this is major arcana. This is that desire to change. This is the magician, alchemy.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to do magic in the sense that she's trying to recapture something. So we have her trying to go back and recapture her popularity, but something has her very anxious. My guess, I just want to look at this because this is really coming to me. With the Page of Cups, you see how that fish is coming out of the cup? Usually it means something's coming up. There's some piece of news, something emerging. And she's nervous about it. I would guess that there is some piece of news, something out there that could be very damaging to her, that she's worried about. But all of this began with her trying to become the magician. Now, this card is really important because this is distant future. This is the top, right? The top of the cross up here. Another major arcana, the Hierophant.
And in this position, what does it mean?
Right. So if we're looking at the distant future, this is how will this all play out in the end? The Hierophant, remember, is dogma, rules, the intellectual structure of a society. My guess is she could, now it depends, we have to look at the rest of the reading, but that can often mean things like law, rules, dogma, could either help her or hurt her, but it's going to be important.
And could it be can it be just a relation with church? Because now it's church questions in Ukraine, religion church, religion questions is religion, what is it? Issues, topic is very important. It's just maybe yes. It's like a support from church or not support from church or something like this, no?
There could definitely be anything related to, like, especially sort of the theology of the church, any major changes within the organization of the church or their fundamental structure. That could definitely be it. Is she considered a religious person or not? I don't know.
I don't know as well, but I think, I just know, I only know that all this conflict between Russian church, but Russian Orthodox Church is not only in Russia. And now, as I know, how to say it? It's like
Can you hear the call to prayer?
Huh?
Can you hear the call to prayer?
We are talking about Hierophant, about religion. It's a good sign.
Yeah. That's an excellent point. It's like a synchronicity between what you're saying and we hear the call to prayer.
I mean, now in our countries, religion is very important, and moreover, it's not because church is like a part of politics, and especially in Ukraine, they had Russian Orthodox and some special Ukrainian Uniatin. It's like. Not very not Catholic, but not Orthodox or something between. And they have a Catholic and they have some Protestants and they have a lot of. It's not so mono country. But now, as I understood, it's even international conflict between Moscow Patriarchate and
the Ukrainian Patriarchate.
And Ukrainian and Constantinople. They had a conflict. Really? You don't
all three of them.
Three of them. It's like I don't know the details, but as I understood, Constantinople decided to support Ukrainian, not Russia. It's very big. It's high level, politician. It's
Right.
And maybe, and I think I can think that in Ukraine and today in politician life is very important the real relations with head of churches, like this.
Right.
It's about our spread.
I think especially between Russia and Ukraine because of this conflict with the church. It's very important how they align themselves with. It's very interesting. Yeah, that the way you talk about it and the synchronicity with the call to prayer, I think that's probably what it is. Some relationship to this religious question. Let's look at the recent past. So this is interesting. The recent past, we got the six of wands. Okay.
Oh.
And that kind of makes sense because it's a recent victory, and I think most people thought she was politically dead after the revolution. Remember when she came out during the revolution in Ukraine and she had no support. It was like they wanted nothing to do with her. I think most people thought she was gone.
Yeah.
And then recently she's got back in the election and she's in second place. So I think that would, and sometimes when you do readings, it's nice to get cards that sort of confirm the situation. It's not so much as telling you something new, but it's confirming that, okay, we're on the right path. Now, this card is extremely important considering that there are elections today. This is the near future. My guess is this card will have a lot to do with today. Because if I understand the elections correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, the top three winners will have a runoff. So these three will have a runoff in like 2 weeks or something. There's another, unless one of the candidates gets 50%, they have to do a runoff, I think. So this should have a lot to do with what's going to happen today. My guess is with this card, this is a really good card.
It's
the Eight of Pentacles.
Mm-hmm.
This card would signify more work. So my guess is she'll make it to the next round.
Mm-hmm.
She'll have something to work with. Okay. Mm-hmm. So these two cards are more personal for her. How does she feel in this situation now? She feels a little wounded, like she's been in battle. And that makes a little bit of sense going back to that. Remember what's crossing her?
Yeah.
The 9? It kind of connects to that. I'm guessing there's stuff going on in the background that we're not aware of, that maybe she's having a little bit of difficulty with something. Now, this card is really interesting in an election. How is she seen? So how does her electorate see her? If this were a relationship, how does the other person see her? Now, this would be the electorate. Okay. Now, this is the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands means a couple of things, but a lot of times it depends on the context. But I usually use it two ways. One of it is things are going to happen very quickly. But in this context, I don't think so. I think it's another term we use is it's your chickens coming home to roost, your karma. What you've done now is coming back. And in this sense, it could be her relationship, because her relationship with her, I think the people of Ukraine, it's kind of complicated, no? A lot of people don't like her. They associate her with bad politics and corruptions, but a lot of people love her. They see her as sort of a symbol of Ukraine, no? So it's kind of all going to come back to her, the good and the bad. It's not really clear, but it makes sense in the reading. Now, this card is the overlooked factor. In this case, sometimes if it's a personal question, it can be advice, no? But in this kind of a context, it's definitely what we haven't paid attention to. The Lovers, interesting. The Lovers.
It's like a choice. Because I was reading about the Lovers. It's like first of all, it's a choice. Like it's like a bit too different. And you know, interesting. Her like logo. It's a. It's a.
Oh, it's a symbol of a heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it can be because it's similar to Gemini, no? The twins, Castor and Pollux. One is in heaven, the other's in hell. So it does have that kind of Gemini split. It can be a choice, but it can also mean, I think, in sort of a more down-to-earth level, some sort of a romantic connection. I wonder if it has something to do. Is she married?
As I understood, she's divorced, and her husband escaped from country. But it was a news of. It was a news of 2014. I don't know now, but I don't think that he back. Just he's not
the only thing I would think of. There seems to be something that's causing her a lot of anxiety. I wonder if something about her relationships in the past is going to come out that could hurt her, or somebody close to her is going to turn against her, reveal some information. We'll see. Final outcome. Very interesting. The Seven of Pentacles. This is usually a very positive card because it's sort of observing the work you've done. No, it's looking at what you've done, taking stock of it, and being pretty satisfied with it. I'm not necessarily sure that it shows victory, but it could show that she re-enters the whole political situation.
Maybe all of this means that her real goal is not the win.
It could be. It could be that it's a way for her to kind of re-enter the whole political world and have a new voice. And it's interesting, the Queen, her significator was the Queen of Pentacles.
Yeah, and her, it's like not about a new land, new win. It's like keep her own position.
Yeah, and remember the near future, we had the Eight of Pentacles with work. So
maybe she will get some position in new government.
Actually, that's what it kind of looks like. It doesn't look like a big victory. And that would make sense with the Hierophant, that maybe down the road, she could have some position where she could rise above a little, because the Hierophant is not a politician.
It's like a system.
High above that.
Or
it's
maybe
more like a statesman. Somebody who guides the country intellectually, not so much doing politics. So my guess is this reading is not about her winning, but about her finding a new role. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and even, it's like about that she achieved her real goals.
Yes, exactly.
But it's not the president position. It's she has some special because too many pentacles. Yeah, no, it's not too many, but Eight of Pentacles. It's a recent future is Pentacles. Yeah, and outcome is Pentacle again, and she's a Pentacle Queen. It means like I'm
work.
right that what she needs, she will get. Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree. If for example, the final card had been, say, the 9 of Pentacles or the 10 of Pentacles, then you might see a victory. I don't see this as a victory. And you know, the Lover's card, looking at the Lover's card again now in this context, this could be a reconnection with her electorate, because she really lost relevance. It might be that there is that connection, and it's, even though she doesn't win, she'll regain that support that she had.
And you know, maybe Hierophant is a politica as a politica.
Yes.
And like in her mind is that she wants to to make stronger her position in politics. It's like to be the biggest oppositioner.
Right.
It's
The
like
biggest
opposition
party, for example, the opposition party. She could be in the opposition party.
Yeah, and and she will get a power, but not formal, but
intellectual a little bit.
A little, yeah, and political, not like a manager, like a without responsibility, you know.
Right, she'll regain that voice in the political world. Yeah, but this does not look like a victory. This reading, this reading looks more like a return, a job well done, but not. It doesn't have the smell of victory, no.
And could it be Lovers is like a negotiation, you know, like a good relations with some important people, and maybe with electorate and with another.
You know how I like to look at the Lovers as it's unifying those 4 aspects that begin with the High Priestess and the Empress, the 2 feminine aspects, and the 2 masculine aspects, the Emperor and the Hierophant. It's kind of bringing them all together. So that's why it's a good card, because it takes those opposites and kind of begins to merge them. It's an excellent card. I mean, and it's something coming back together that's been separated. Yeah, I think it could be that something gets reconnected.
I think definitely she will stay in politics, and she will be a strong person. Absolutely.
This reading would say definitely. It's interesting. The only difficulty here, because the 9 of Swords is not an easy card, something is bothering her. And I was thinking, I remember before I mentioned maybe the Lovers was something bad. No, I think the Lovers is a positive card here, and it's not related to that anxiety. But there is something I think that's going to come out soon that's probably going to hurt her a little bit, or at least because she feels like she's been in battle. But remember, this is not a bad card, because look at this guy. He's got the wounds, but he's still alive.
To the center.
He's standing there. He's been wounded, but he's standing and he's ready to fight on. So it's not a bad card. I don't mind this card. I don't take this as a bad card. It just shows, and it shows resilience, that, you know, you have some difficulty, you survive, and you're ready to keep going. It's not a bad card.
But war is finished, yeah.
The battle is over, and he has some wounds. He got some wounds. He has this band on his head, so he's gotten, you know, he got hit a few times.
Robert, could be 9 of Swords. It's like, you know, she understands that she hadn't chances to be. It's like to be a president, really, because she's very smart. Really, she's very smart. It's like, you know, like her dreams is over. It's like a reality. She understands that she can't.
Yes. Yeah? And that maybe makes more sense, that she's really, really anxious about this, because this is her last chance.
Yeah.
She's about, how old is she? She's about what, 60?
Her birthday is 27th of November 1960.
Okay, but I mean, she's still relatively young for a politician. She's about what, 40 and 20. She's only 59. So she's still relatively young for a politician, right? So, but maybe she feels like if she can become relevant again, she has a chance. But if she gets destroyed in this election, then maybe it's over. Because for a politician, 60 years old is probably their prime, no? It's their best. That's a good age for a politician.
Maybe, but comedian guy is only 40. 41.
Yeah, exactly.
If compared with him, she's too old, especially for women.
But she looks good, though. I mean, she's always she's a beautiful woman, I think, and she has that. Oh, she's attractive and she's very feminine
and sexy. Yeah, and she is. I know.
Yeah.
I heard about her a little bit personal. She is, and she has lovers younger than her. So she's very feminine. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, she has that strong feminine energy.
Not like.
Yeah, she doesn't look like an old woman.
No.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, so I think that's I think we can say that this will be successful for her, and I think you're right. I think that Nine of Swords is probably she is really anxious about this to regain that past glory, which is the Page of Cups, for her. Yeah, excellent. I like this reading. I think it makes sense. Let's take a 2-minute break.
Okay.
I can cut this out later, so we'll cut this out. And I'm just going to get a coffee, and then we'll do. You're going to do Poroshenko.
Okay.
I'll be right
back. I switch it off?
No, keep it on. I'll just record.
Okay.
I am back.
You see, it's like a
Oh, that's a nice cup. I like it.
Some Eastern.
Ah, one thing I wanted. One thing
I didn't hear. I don't hear.
Oh, what about now? Can you hear me now? Now you hear me, yeah?
Yeah, now I'm here.
One thing I found that this is very practical, but it helped me a lot. These cards, I've had these cards for almost 10 years now. When I moved here to Tunis, it's much more humid. It's very humid here. And the cards begin to get really sticky.
Mm-hmm.
And so you know what I did? I took a silica bag. You know silica? It's just a bag of...
silica, understood, yeah.
Because at work, we had a new computer, and they have big bags of silica. I put the silica in the bottom of the Taro box, and now the cards are perfect. They move smooth again. Because they were so stuck.
I understood, because honestly, I think it was very beginning when I started to read Osho Zen Taro. And, I was reading, I read regularly in Sri Lanka during my traveling to Sri Lanka. And humanity in Sri Lanka is very strong. And all this...
Robert, so the silica bag is a good idea if you live in a humid environment. It really helps.
Robert, would you mind if I will pull cards not according to the rules? I mean, okay, I will say you because you're my teacher, but I feel cards like talking with my intuition, really. It's like I want or not. Maybe I understood it's not according to rules, but I've shuffled in the beginning, yeah, and people say, and ask people to say me stop and begin like this. Sometimes I try, I don't know why, but sometimes I ask, yes, just how to say it, it's just move cards or not. But then when I pull cards, I can shuffle again. I don't know, but it's like or if you mind, if you're against this.
No, but I don't understand. So sometimes you don't shuffle and then you shuffle?
I shuffle in the beginning and I can shuffle during the, like
during the reading.
Because I do like this. I put all cards, but cover up. How to say?
You cover the card, and then you put all the cards down, and then you turn them over.
And then open.
Right. Some people do it that way.
And I maybe because I'm not sure that I shuffle very well. I can pull this through this and this and this and so.
Oh, I see what you mean. So sometimes you'll put two cards down and then you shuffle again.
Yeah.
The thing is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But what I do recommend is have some kind of system. So if you feel like you want to shuffle again, then do it. But you know what I mean? Don't switch back and forth. What would be a very bad idea? What would be a very bad idea is to begin to turn over like if you did it like me, then you shuffle because then you're like, I don't like the reading. No, you can't do that.
Yeah. No. I just put all the cards, but I can see them. And
I think as long as you can't see them, it doesn't make any difference. It makes no difference.
I just feel some like okay. Now, like I talk with myself or somebody inside of me, but interesting all this and this stuff about to see the last one card. I'm doing it intuitively. I don't know. I never heard about it, but I just make a reading and always look. Okay, it's like a one detail.
It's one kind of, and it's interesting in this reading. In this reading, we got death. Now, death, remember, death, physical death, like damage, I see more as the Ten of Swords. This death is more a change, no? A big change. And I think from this reading, what this shows us, honestly, is she's not going to have a political role in Ukraine, like an official political role. She's going to have, but she'll find that position as the Hierophant. She'll become something above politics. That's what I see. It's like she's doing the work, and she's going to have a different role. But I think that old Page of Cups, that's where death is. That's going to change. She actually has to become a queen. She can't go back to being the young, pretty. No, she has to mature.
You know, maybe. What do you think? That's you thought about it. That the Nine of Swords, maybe Nine of Swords connected with death more.
Nine of Swords and Ten of Swords both connected to death.
No, I mean in this spread, in her spread, no?
It could be, but if it were the Ten of Swords, it would definitely be. But since it was the Nine of Swords, I think the more I think about it, because I liked what you said, there's that anxiety. It's not about something outside. It's about inside her. And that anxiety could be her conflict with the old Julia, which in a lot of ways was very folkloric. She was like a figure from folklore, no? You have this, I'm Ukraine to the, and maybe now she has to go towards something more Sagittarian, more Hierophant, no? A higher level.
And with, it's like above of politic, yeah? It's like above of politic.
Right. It could be. And we had death there. So I think it's the death of the transformation of that older to something new. Interesting. I had a reading the other day. And the first card, the bottom card was the devil. And so I gave an initial interpretation of the reading. And then I sent the person a message a couple days later. There were two ways to do that reading. In remembering that devil, it kind of pushed me toward the less optimistic version. So yeah, it can give you kind of hints about where it's going. But 100%, your system, it makes no difference as long as you don't turn over the cards. If you turn over the cards and then you reshuffle,
no, I understood. Just don't. Don't try to do what I want to see.
Exactly. And, I've had many people when I'm doing readings, they say, for example, the final card. They say, give me a second card to clarify. I don't like that. You got to take the message for what it is. It's kind of like, when you were a kid and you ask mom, and mom says no, and you ask dad, can I go play? You got to accept what the cards tell you. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the clarification card. Some people use it. It doesn't. I think you have to kind of accept it, and it shows a certain respect for the cards too. Like, okay, here's your message. Don't try and play games with me,
But I tried. I will honest with you. I will be honest with you. I did there like a second. Some short or small spread, but always Taro answer the same.
Really?
It's like okay, different way, but you will die. Your life is the end or something like this. It's like no any excuses. So for me, psychologically, it's difficult to I read for friends, for example, because of course I want to read and to say something good, and I will try to make like even it's a death or something, some strong card, not pleasant card, not the bad, but not pleasant card. It's just okay. Give me a minute. Battery of my computer is almost over. Okay, we are ready to Piotr?
We are ready for Poroshenko. Interesting guy. No, he was the chocolate factory guy. Didn't he have a big company for sweets? Sweets and chocolates and all this kind of stuff.
Yes, she has. Oh, he has.
Oh, he has, no?
He has, and one of the most popular joke about him that he still, he's a still businessman and manager of his factory, and he promised to sell it, but still don't. I think he's missing of his chocolate business. he has a very, very good, very nice chocolate magazine in the center of Kiev on Krishchatik. I like it. And he produced his factory produces very famous Soviet cake, Kievsky. It's like, it's like a taste of our childhood.
Right.
It's very nice. It's nothing special. It's bezé. I don't know. Bezé. Do you have such a cake?
I mean, it's like a traditional.
But very Soviet.
Cake.
Very Soviet. Not Russian, not Ukrainian, but like a Soviet, like a sign of Soviet. Oh, Kievsky. Yes, Kievsky. We remember. It's like something like this.
It's very interesting that a man would come to power at such a difficult time in Ukraine. They were in the middle of a war. And he's a chocolate factory man. It doesn't make a lot of sense. No, you would think a general or something. No, a guy who makes chocolates. It's kind of interesting.
I think because of I think my guess. It's not because I know something about him, but I think he was chosen of some United Americans politicians because, of course, everybody understands that America supported revolutionary. But he was, I guess, he was chosen as a businessman, as a most logical guy, as a liberal.
Right. And remember the tape? Do you remember the recording? They recorded the American ambassador to the UN. What was her name? I'm forgetting her name. They had a recording of her, and they were talking about who they wanted to be prime minister and who they wanted to be president, the Americans, and they made a recording of it. It was very funny. Oh, she was the U.S. ambassador to the UN, and they recorded a private conversation. I guess probably the FSB did. And it was so funny because they were saying, you remember the boxer? What was the boxer's name?
You Klitschko. Mean Ukrainian? Yes, he's a mayor. He is a mayor of Kiev.
And on the conversation, she said, Klitschko's not ready. She said, Klitschko's not ready. We have to find. So they picked the prime minister, and I think you're right. They probably picked him.
But Klitschko is really stupid. Really, really.
He's a boxer.
Yes, unfortunately,
but a very good boxer. Very good boxer.
Very good boxer. That's why he's not very. I think is so many beats to the so many times.
It's a little bit of a tangent, but it's amazing how good Ukrainian boxers are. The best boxer in the world today is Lomachenko. He's unbelievable. He's like, oh my God, he's a beautiful boxer. He dances in the ring. It's amazing to watch this guy box. I don't know. It's amazing how they produce such good boxers in Ukraine. I like boxing. I mean, he's amazing. But yeah, you probably don't want a boxer being your president.
No, but he's. I mean, I think he's absolutely not. It's like a mask, or how to say it. It's like
right,
a marionette. Yeah.
Yeah, a marionette, a puppet, maybe. He's controlled. You know?
Absolutely, because it's impossible. Really, because I saw, and all jokes about him, it's the most funniest jokes because he's just like just stupid, really, like kids, like a child. It's not something like all jokes about him, not the aggressive, not the like about the child.
It's a little bit like when Schwarzenegger became governor of California. It was like,
yeah, maybe even more naive. Like more like he's naive as well.
Yeah.
But his speaking way of speaking is something, and in Russian and in Ukrainian as well.
Right, both languages, no?
As we back to Julia, she's Russian speaking.
She's a native Russian speaker.
Because
right?
she's from the eastern part. But when she started to be politician, she learned Ukrainian, and now she learned Ukrainian only. In Ukrainian, even I know
she only speaks in Ukrainian now.
Only speaks in Iranian, in public at least. And I know my friends. I had a friend, politicnologist.
Yeah, like a political scientist or something.
Political scientist, and they worked with her, and they told me that during the general meeting, when they're from Russia, the people on the meeting they were invited to the meetings, to discuss all these plans, how to make their not now, but maybe 10 years ago. And she refused to speak Russian. She said, "This is your problem. You should know." Yeah.
Interesting.
Is it you? It's Yulia. Yeah. I think.
I mean,
honestly, she's Armenian woman.
Romanian.
Armenian. She's Armenian.
Oh, not Romanian. Armenian.
Armenian.
Oh my God.
She has some Romanian roots.
So interesting. And the first Christian church comes from Armenia. That's the oldest Christian church.
I mean, in Queen of Pentacle, it's exactly Armenian.
Right. Yeah, I get you. Interesting.
That's why cards is amazing. Cards are amazing.
And Sagittarians too they're good with foreign travel, language, that kind of thing. It's really their essence, no? That's cool. So we have Poroshenko here, who's the businessman, gets into politics, into probably one of the most difficult situations you could imagine. And as I understand it, he's not particularly popular now. So his popularity is pretty low. But he's surviving, and he is a Libran. So this reading will be very interesting to see. Does he survive or not? No?
In politics.
Yeah, we're only talking about politics here, not about his physical.
Okay. So. And now, Robert, I will shuffle, and you will say this when I should stop.
Right, I'll tell you when I feel the love come. Okay, stop.
And now here.
Now from the interesting. It just that's the bottom card. No, okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Now let's look for you look for the first king.
Okay.
From the
just
back.
For history, yeah. For history, it's second of cups, yeah.
Right, the 2 cups.
Two cups.
And remember that
very romantic.
Yeah.
Very romantic country, Ukrainian. Love and with love card in lovers card in first spread, yeah, and second. Okay, and I am looking for the queen or king, yeah.
First king, yeah.
And I can just okay.
Interesting, no? She got pentacles and he got pentacles.
And I just put it, yeah, separately.
Yeah, and I always put it. Remember, I always put it face down. Oh, well, you put them all face down. So put that card face down, and then when you put the first card goes on top of that. What's covering you? Because that's him. And then what's the question? Yeah.
You mean I should pass it like this?
Right. Yeah. On the and then you'll put when you do the first card on top of that.
Okay, but I think the King of Pentacle is very good card for him. For King of Chocolate.
Chocolates. You couldn't ask for a more perfect card for him.
Yeah, like a businessman who, and you know, like a successful businessman has many other. I think chocolate factory is not only one business he has, and I think his real focus on his property. No?
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely, and he's rich. I mean, when you
just
think of a rich
his...
man, you think of the King of Pentacles.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not a particularly passionate guy. No, he's not got an enormous amount of energy. He's kind of rich guy, rich, a little bit fat.
Maybe, maybe we can just guess, but maybe his decision to become their president, it was like, way to keep his property during this difficult time, because
you never know.
Yeah, or maybe to make to make his, because I remember when he became the president, I said, okay, his business, it's good for his business to become international, Who knows? Maybe interesting, yeah. Second candidate and second politician, and second is Pentagon. People who think about the money first of all. We will see. Okay. And now, what should I just do? Like to choose their.
So now you you cut the deck in 3 parts.
To 3 parts.
Yeah. God likes threes. I cut it into.
Stop two times.
No, I just lift them up. I ask the person when, and then I do the rest. So the first cut. So like this, I do it like this. I lift my fingers up like this. And then when the person says stop, I stop there and I make the 3 parts.
1 and 2, another.
Mm-hmm. And I always take the middle one.
Okay, let me ask myself. Okay, I will do what I want to do, okay?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Because I need to, I want to shuffle a little bit more. Okay, let's do what you... Okay. I'm ready. Could you say?
Stop. Just talking about the things you do in a reading, I think the most important thing is always doing it the same way. So it's not so important what you do, but if you always do it the same way, you're kind of respecting the idea of synchronicity and chance. You're not getting involved. You know what I mean? You're allowing the universe to kind of decide. So if you always do it the same way, you're saying, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. And let chance kind of let the universe get involved. You don't want your ego involved. You want to disconnect from the ego and let it all flow. That's the important. I don't really think it matters how you do it, as long as you always do it the same way.
But yes, but you know, I think I ask myself, but not here. It's like
right.
I feel like some impulse. Okay, let's start. First card, yeah, first position. You mean it's cover?
What covers him?
What covers him? And second position, I don't remember in English.
Oh,
but
I put this. It does again. It doesn't matter, but I put it below him. What's below him? So what covers him? What's below him? What's above him? What's to the left? And what's to the right?
No, cover.
First, so yeah, what covers him? What's below him? What's above him? And then what's here and what's there? It doesn't matter, as long as it really doesn't matter. I don't think it matters the order, how you do it. Everybody has their order. I just always use the same order.
Oh, but no, it's important because according to literature, which I count, cross is what you see.
So there's one card. So what?
But you send me. You send me.
Right,
you
right.
are the person who sent me the first. Look, this is the first. Okay. It's like
no,
first.
no. I see it. Yeah.
And then second is like a cross.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I forgot. Yeah. What crosses him? Yeah. What crosses?
Yeah. What
covers him? What crosses him? What's below?
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Of course. I got confused there. Yeah.
Okay. First is what cover him. Second is what cross him. Third is what is below him. It's my okay. It's your. What is above him? What is
behind him?
Behind him. It's like a nearest past, yeah?
Exactly. Recent. And then what's in front of him?
It's in front of him. It's recent future. His position, his statement.
Right.
It's environment around him.
Good.
So like advice and outcome.
Perfect. Excellent.
Okay. You can believe me that it's I didn't cover. I didn't open. Now I'm ready. From the first, yeah? First card. 6 of Wands. I think it's very clear. Natural, yeah?
Very clear.
King now.
The question is victory. That's the question.
And I think he if I'm right, it means he believes in his chances, yeah.
Oh yeah, he's in this to win.
He want to. He's serious candidate. Yes, he's seriously wants to be a president second time. Yeah.
And the other thing, when you get a card like this that so fits so perfectly into the question, it's nice because you'll find sometimes with readings the question you ask is not the question that gets answered. That's the card that will tell you. So this is telling us this is the question. It's not something else. It's he wants to win.
And I think this card means he has a team, real team.
Yeah? Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Now, this card is super interesting. So what's stopping him from victory?
What's stopping him from victory? Look. King of Cups.
Wow, interesting. Now, who is this? Who is this?
I'm not sure that it's comedian, or it could be.
Now, the comedian is Aquarian. So Aquarius is an air sign, but the symbol of Aquarius is carrying the man with the water. So it's kind of, I would guess it's the Aquarian.
Yeah. But my feeling is not he, because I don't know why, but we will see. But I think that it could be comedian guy because, as I understood, Caps is about art, about show, no? About feelings.
It would definitely be any man from a water sign.
But Scorpio, as I remember, I read that it's first of all it's Scorpio, no?
No, but I think it could, for example, it could be a Cancer man. It could be a Piscean man. It's a man who's very kind of emotional. For me, when I see the King of Cups, this is not the intellectual man. This is not the inspiring, general. It's a man who connects on an emotional level.
Maybe it's Trump. I don't know whether it's just crazy idea.
But Trump's a Gemini, no?
Gemini.
Okay, but one thing, the image for the Aquarius, have you ever seen it's the man with the water? I kind of think, I'm guessing this is it's the comedian.
Yeah, it could be.
But yeah, you know what? Sometimes it'll clarify. But I think for now, there's probably a good chance that it's the comedian.
It crossed him. It means he worried about his influence, yeah?
And also, very important, the question is victory. What stops him from the victory? The comedian. What crosses that goal?
It could be, they are really opponents, yeah?
Yes, totally. Like, imagine if this were a reading about a woman. Imagine it's, I want this woman. And what crosses you is the King of Cups. There's another guy who has a good chance at her. Or vice versa. You know what I mean? But, so yeah, I think it's definitely a comedian.
Okay. What below him? It's rules. Wow.
The root of the question.
The root of the question is moon.
Wow. This reading is really setting up as very clear. It's about a victory. There's another man, and below him, how did this all begin? Something emerging. But very interesting. This is major arcana now. Is this something emerging in Ukraine? Like a new vision of, because remember, that lobster is not out of the water. Half in and half out. It's not completely out. It's something that's kind of just developing. So this is very, very interesting.
And for me, as a person who were there and who, emotionally connected with Ukraine as a Russian, and any Russian has roots.
And you spent a lot of time in Kiev, right?
Huh?
You spent a lot of time?
Not a lot of time. It's only 1 year and 3 months, but it was the best time in my life. And I feel that I had a very strong relations with this place, and even one guy, extrasense guy, said me that I lived in Kiev in my past life. But in any way, this is very, very important place for me, like emotionally. But it doesn't mean it's not very important. But for me, I see here left and right. It's like east and west.
Right.
Because this is the most important problem, and even war. How to, if no. If somebody cut me by swords, I will have a what?
Oh, wound.
Wound. It's the most important wound. It's like, and dog and wolf, two towels, yeah, and moon and sun. Moreover, yellow and blue is a flag of
Ukraine, right?
Of Ukraine. It's like people tied to be separated, because separation, and it's a main question, main issue. And Poroshenko, honestly, he started the war. Not he in east, from east and west. He's main of army, or how to say it, leader of army.
He's the chief of the army, yeah.
Chief of the army, yeah, and
the commander.
It's the main question, to be honest, for me, and for me, this is the main question of this election.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously that's the biggest question. And just in context, nothing has really changed. There's still fighting going on. And the main border between the Russian occupied east and the Ukrainian west, it's basically stayed the same. So how does this resolve? Does Eastern Ukraine separate, become part of Russia, become an independent country? Do they make a big effort and try and have a military victory? Something has to change. You can't spend forever in a war with no. And I mean, I actually know some people in Eastern Ukraine, and life there is extremely difficult. I think a lot of people have forgotten how difficult life is for those people. Now, it's not easy.
From Eastern or Western, you mean?
No, in Eastern Ukraine. Because you're living in a place that really has no political center. There's a lot of militia armies, fighting going on. It's not life as normal. I mean, because a lot of people listen to if they don't know. I remember when the European football championship was in Ukraine and Poland. This was 2012, I believe.
12.
And Ukraine, I remember my friends in Eastern Ukraine, they were like, we're part of Europe. We're like middle-class Europeans. We can travel. To go from that to living in a civil war is incredibly traumatic. Incredibly traumatic for that whole area. And this has not been resolved. So I think, like you say, the key is somehow this needs to resolve and life needs to begin down a more normal path. So,
I would say Ukraine need integration, because according to comedian show, I was watching it and I was listening their style of jokes, and people they joke about his politician. Of course, about Russian, not much, to be honest, very, like detail. But they make jokes. They are making jokes about Europe and Europe, or helpers from outside, from America, from Europe. They don't like them as well. People don't you know, if in the beginning it was like a mood, oh, Europe will help us, or America will save us. Yeah, no, now it's not. They understood that they need their own way, like,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
together, East and West, and without big influence from there or from outside. Because I can share with you the link because it's in Russian, but they create the guys show group, yeah. They create some song, and this song was it's like how sad that other people like Russian and American try to get my girl Ukraine, like, you know, to use my girl, but I'm your, like, I love you, my real Ukraine girl, something like this, very lyric. But I understood they are ready to be real independent, but independent from Russia and from the
Absolutely. And
yeah.
let's face it, Ukraine got caught in the middle of an international conflict where you have Russia intervening on one side, the Americans on the other. And who won? Who's the winner? Nobody. Who's the loser? Ukraine.
Ukraine always.
Do you
But
think?
now, yeah, but this is the politician of this guy.
And maybe this card means a new identity that's separate from both sides. And just to give you another example, I live in Tunis now, in Tunisia, which had a revolution in 2011. And it was great. We have a revolution, but you talk to people now, less security, less money, less jobs. And it's not the great thing you see on the newspaper. Oh, liberty, democracy. But, you know, people have to eat.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
want security. And these things, so when these international actors get involved, the only thing they're interested in is themselves. They have absolutely zero interest in what's going on in this country. And maybe that's this card.
yeah. And
And
maybe,
hopefully this humor, this idea of a political identity that's Ukrainian, maybe that's what this is. Yeah.
yeah. And for me, it means the position of this card is roots. And honestly, the basic is like fundament of politic of Poroshenko is the separation.
Yes.
It's not because he is a bad guy, but this is the situation.
It's very anti-Russian, right? It's very anti-Russian.
Anti-Russian, and you know, as I said, Crimea conflict and Donetsk is very good for politician in any countries. For politician, not for country, but for politician. Because if they didn't have enemy as a Russia, they didn't have I don't know, I forgot the like a reason why
Yes.
why a country has a problem.
Because remember, a lot of these modern politicians, what they use is fear. You've
Yeah,
seen this in Russia. You've seen this in Russia. The use of fear to manipulate people. Like Russia needs to worry about Ukraine. What's Ukraine going to invade Russia? I don't think so. You saw it personally, where I most saw it was in 9/11, because the 1990s were an incredibly prosperous time in the United States and Europe. Things were going well, and politics became a little bit irrelevant. Who cares about politicians? We have the internet, we have all this, and then 9/11 happens, and all of a sudden we have a new enemy, and we need to be afraid of this enemy. I live in an Arab country. There's nothing to be afraid of. These people could care less about America. They could care less. They just want to live their lives and be happy, honestly. But you manipulate people's fears and you control them. And that does with Ukraine, that does with Russia, that does with America. They all do the same thing. It's a trick. It's a very intelligent trick, but hopefully this card is showing something new. Hopefully, no?
Oh, maybe, and he is Libran. Yeah, it's like again two alternatives, and he is inside in the middle. And if it's a card of his politician, yeah, of his idea, it's like a balance between two.
The only thing,
It's time.
the only thing I would say about that, if we take that king to be the comedian Vladimir, this card is very watery, and it might mean that it could identify more with that King of Cups than with him. We'll see in the read. We'll see as the reading goes on.
Okay. What's above him? Yeah.
All right.
Are you ready?
Oh my God! Let's see.
Guess that guy ready to go. To go.
Now be careful with this card, though. Remember, this is the distant future. So this card does not indicate so much about the election itself as what happens after.
But it's like it's a position where for Julia it was the Hierophant. Hierophant, yeah. But
here it's death. So because remember, with Julia, we saw the election was work, maybe not a victory, but she would become eventually something higher. This card will be very interesting to look at when we see what the result card is. But okay. It's very interesting that he has Major Arcana below and Major Arcana above. What's below him, what's above him. The moon and death. Now, if I had to take a guess, if the result of this reading is positive, it's going to mean he'll enter politics and completely change. He'll be totally transformed by politics. So it's not a good sign, especially if he wins. Especially if he wins. If he loses, it will have a different, right? But it's a very interesting position. Very interesting position.
You mean if he will become the president, it's a bad. It's like a.
Remember, it's not physical death. It's that he'll change. Maybe he'll become a politician and stop being who he is. That's why when I do readings, I generally wait to talk about that card till I get a little more context.
Okay.
Because it depends on what's going on. But this reading is beginning very. Oh wait, but we're talking about Poroshenko here. This is very interesting. Very interesting.
And my opinion, it's like at least he is ready to change to new in his mind. Yeah, for me, it's a position is what he has in his mind. No, okay.
But just remember, this is never a pleasant process. This is a difficult, hard change.
Or maybe he understood that it's in any way it will be hard.
And what it could mean is he becomes completely irrelevant politically. His political career just dies. He transforms back into somebody who has nothing to do with politics.
Chocolate factory.
I hope he doesn't lose his chocolates. But this reading is so far extremely interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. So now we got to go to the past. We're looking for something interesting. We'll see what happens here.
Oh, interesting. It's a 5 of Pentacles.
Now it's again confirmation of the reading, because Poroshenko's last couple of years have been terrible. No, I mean, he's very low in the rating. I mean, he's president and he was in third place. About a week ago, he was in third place. For a sitting president, that's not good.
Yeah, and as I listen from jokes, yeah, from humor, the main main complaint, yeah, main complaint from people to him that he didn't keep his promises. He didn't. Right. That's why, like, he's bankrupt, like something like this.
He's bankrupt politically. That's what this card really confirms. Kind of everything, no?
Mm-hmm. Okay, now it's recent future.
Right.
Oh, with Julia, I think. Pentacle, 8 of Pentacle. Right, okay. Right. Or maybe he will make the voices election. Or calculate all this stuff. Okay. Now, what is his statement? Yeah, in this situation. Oh, he feels very quite good. Yeah.
This is a wonder. I love this card because it's so interesting. So you get the Ace of Wands, the Two of Wands. Can I see that card again?
Third of Wands.
Right. Remember, the Two of Wands, he's holding the world.
Yeah.
Everything is possible. The Three of Wands, his ships are coming. So he sees the ships coming. He sees a chance. He feels like this is clearly, he feels like he can win. He feels like he can win. He feels like it's possible. Now, this makes the next card very important. He feels like he can win. What does the Ukrainian electorate see? Very interesting.
Excuse me. Could it means that somebody, if it's not the comedian, could it be like that somebody promised him that everything will be good? No.
But remember, that King of Cups is crossing his victory. His victory, the victory, and that King of Cups is crossing the victory. It's fighting him in the victory. What's stopping him from that victory?
Oh, maybe this. It's like this is not king, yeah. It's like somebody who.
It's like a general, a warrior guy.
Okay, but it's of course it's good. It's a natural, yes, to feel him. He's a real president. Has a real.
And for me, what's very important is this card and the next card. So, for example, if I'm doing a reading about love, if you get how do you feel, it's a very positive card. Okay, but how does the partner feel? And when those two cards are very different, it's a problem. I did a reading the other day. It wasn't about love, it was about something else, but it was very interesting. The relationship between these two cards is crucial. It gives you a lot of insight.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now it's a card of how people, environment see him, yeah? Mm-hmm. Phew, interesting. It's the Queen of Cups. But I think it's Ukraine, it's like Ukraine, because Ukraine is Ukraine is very feminine, very feminine country. And again, yellow and blue is a flag of Ukraine.
And maybe they see at least a big part of Ukraine sees him as kind of representing because it's not the Queen of Swords, it's not the Queen of Pentacles, it's an emotional connection to him. So he has support. I think what that card is saying, there is support for him.
Definitely. Yes. At least his electorate, is like him, real like him.
There is support for him.
Mm-hmm. Next one is good as well. It's like advice, or what? It's a cap of.
Very interesting. All the water in this reading. So what this reading I think is showing us is that there's definitely some sort of emotional connection here to him. I don't really understand it that much because
Excuse me, I interrupt you. What about the television? Is it water as well? No? Or it's
No,
air?
usually television's related to sort of Aquarius, air, that kind of thing. But we should be careful here because this card is the overlooked factor and it's the emotional connection. This card could connect to that King of Cups. It could be related that we're not paying attention to that emotional connect. We'll see. Let's see what the final card is, and then it'll probably all make more sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, last outcome. Huh. It's 2 of Pentacles. I think definitely second round. Yeah.
Definitely second round. And the 2 of Pentacles is a fascinating card because it's finding that balance, but not in your mind, not in your heart. It's a juggling act. No, I got to have this one and that one. It could mean some kind of coalition government, some sort of weird political machination. This card just smells like back of the room politics, people saying, you get this, I get this, I get this, and we find some sort of a...
Something.
Exactly. It definitely doesn't show a big victory, though.
Yeah, and interesting. Nearest future is Pentacle 8, yeah. And 8 is dual as well. Yeah, it's like maybe it's creating a coalition. Yeah.
It could be that there's a lot of work involved here to get some sort of, but I would say if we could come up with a political word for the 2 of Pentacles, it's compromise.
Mm-hmm.
It's making some sort of a strange compromise, and it's an interesting card for a Libran, no?
Yeah, for Libran, and the root is a very. It's like for me, it's correlation between this and this.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, it's like but
that's a really good point.
It's this is a main arcane, but
right.
Okay, my version is like he understood that this de-integration is the main problem, and he will try to manipulate this, to make a compromise, but not to go too deeper. Exactly.
The 2 of Pentacles is like a much lower vibration of that major arcana, but on a very kind of base, practical, physical kind of a way.
Oh, Robert, if we will take this, and this, for me, it's like he understood that separation politic is death. It's over. It doesn't work anymore. And we'll try to make some compromise. Something like this, maybe like this.
And just pay attention to that boat. You see the 2 boats on the 2 of Pentacles?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One's going up and one's going down.
He stand on the one foot.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's looking for some way to make this work. It's interesting, and it's interesting. Julia's final card was the it's the 8 of Pentacles. She was the 8.
Pentacles again.
Yes. Very interesting.
I don't know I'm right or not, but if his significator is Pentacle and outcome is Pentacle, it means his real interest is like a match, yeah? But not so good as Julia. In Julia variant. It's like...
I think Julia's is more positive than his. And that death card as the final outcome might show us, I mean, you could read it this way. He enters some sort of a coalition and agreement, some way to get into power, but finally he's finished. His political life ends and he becomes something else.
Maybe he right, excuse me, but in my variant there is no any ships here. Oh, No, but you said about ships. But here
right.
ships. Maybe this guy see these ships to go to cross the ocean.
Could be.
You know, just maybe he will think very as a Libra. He should think about the two variants: win or lose. But how to lose? But don't lose their property or something like this.
But it's very interesting too that he feels confident that his ships are coming home. But in the final analysis, there's a lot of waves, and it's not so easy to keep those ships coming to port. No.
And you know, what do you think about this one? Is it if it's Ukrainian and I understood this woman is like waiting in some miracle or think about emotions. Or you know, maybe my version is his electorate is very emotional. Maybe woman, and they're waiting in miracle. They love him, not to trust him, but love him as a chocolate. He's a handsome, quite handsome.
Not so
For
bad.
women, like a good husband. His um, his wife is like how's it? He is a leader of TV show, some direct. No,
Could be.
maybe, but very emotional. Yeah, it's the most emotional card, I think.
It's a very, and I always look at the Queen of Cups because cups is water, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at King is fire, Queen is water, Knight is air, and the page is earth. She's double water. She's water on water. This is real emotional connection. This is the mother that loves you to death. She feeds you. She dresses you. She cares about you. It's very strong, feminine, moon, water energy. That's why the Queen of Cups, you know, I think it's probably the most feminine. The Queen of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles are the two most feminine queens. But the Queen of Pentacles is going to be it's going to be sexier, more sensual. The Queen of Cups, she kind of loves you, you know? It's a wonderful card. I like that card a lot.
But interesting, the spread is moon is water of water, yeah? As I understood, and this is water, a lot of water.
A lot of water here.
A lot of emotions. But emotion, what water is emotions and what?
Connection. Water connects.
Connection.
Water connect. Think about air separates. Air dries and cracks and separates. Water brings the earth. For example, if you pour water on earth, it makes that mud. It connects it all. Water connects. And so there's something going on here emotionally with him and his electorate, you know?
Yeah, and he has a Queen and King of Cups.
Oof, there's a lot of water here.
I think chocolate, maybe he will make some special ingredients to the chocolate for the electorate.
Less chocolate, more water, maybe more money. So let's take a pause here. Let's take a pause, okay?
Okay.
You know what I want to do now? I just want to look on the internet and see in the runoff, is it the top 2 or the top 3 who get into runoff?
You mean you want to see the pool results of...
No, because one thing I don't really understand about this election. So today they have an election. If nobody wins 50%, they have to have a runoff, right?
You mean what will happen? Maybe not good. Maybe just make the reading and then you will check. just to be more objective, no?
No, I just want to see what happens after this. Is there 2 or 3? Do 2 get into the next round, or is it 3 that get into the next round?
Okay. You mean how many candidates will be in the next round? 2 or 3?
Right. Because okay, I'm reading here. There's 39 candidates. Okay, in this election, the expect to go to Rock. No candidate to receive more than half the vote. The winner like blah blah blah. After the West, you're going to none of the candidates about move. None of the candidates about wants to move. You can back up. Zelensky is popular vote.
Robert, I can. According to this, now it's 3, and then we'll 2. This is my answer.
Yeah, I don't understand what happens. Can you just check? Because I think there's more information about that in Russia.
How to say it? How to ask it? It's like what? How many candidates go to the second round, or what?
Yeah, exactly. How many candidates go to the second round of Ukrainian elections?
Oh.
Let me just ask here. Because I wonder if they could all go. I don't know. Usually it's 2, though, isn't it? Okay, here it is. I found it in Wikipedia. Let's see.
I think 3. No, 4.
4 in the second round. Yes.
Yeah. Is it? Oh, boy. They're crazy guys, Ukrainians. 4 candidates in second round.
Okay. So what's clear is once you get rid of all the other candidates, okay. So it's not going to, they'll all, basically all 3 of these will be alive for the second round, right? Oh, wait, here it says, Poroshenko's rule, not only but on the situation, if there's any, he will have it. If not, there will be changes. Poroshenko has already announced her election. But expert knowledge, too much Shenko's rating and is about 10, and 25% have not assigned it. But unit is sure to go to the second round. So yeah, they're all going to make it to the second round. These Ukrainians are crazy. Okay. So what's cool about this reading is you can see Julia. Yeah, this is cool. So remember, we're doing the reading on the final outcome, the final. This is very interesting. Okay, I'll be back in 1 second. I'm just going to go.
And me too. I need to.
I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Классно.
Okay, so now, are you ready?
Okay, I should ask you, do you have any questions to the spread?
Oh, good. Yeah, I think that reading was super interesting. Very interesting. It made so much sense, especially from the first card. No, it's about victory, what's crossing him. One thing I just want to make clear, for anyone listening, all three of these candidates will go to the second round. So the second round will be, I don't know when it is, in a few weeks. All three of these will go. The question we're asking is the final result. So we're worried about tomorrow's part of it, but obviously the final result is what's really interesting.
Okay, I will. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just to review, Julia Tymoshenko, on her reading, that final outcome was the 8 of Pentacles, correct? Poroshenko got the 2 of Pentacles.
No, 7 of Pentacles.
Oh, I'm sorry, the 7 of Pentacles. Right. And he got the 2 of Pentacles. So not real definitive kind of big victory here. Now let's look at the leader. So
okay, can I?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Can I finish? Okay.
Mm-hmm. So the leader of this election, and I should get his last name correct, right? We should give him that.
Zelensky.
Oh, how do you pronounce it?
Zelensky.
So he is actually leading in the polls that I looked at today he had about 25% of the vote, and Poroshenko and Tymoshenko had about 16 each. So he's got a pretty big lead so far. So let's look at what will happen with him in this presidential election.
Okay.
I'm glad we did it this way with the 3, because it sort of builds the tension up a little bit, you know? What's going to happen?
But we should do for 3, yeah?
Yeah.
Because Ukraine has too many candidates.
Tell me one thing, though. You're much more familiar with this man than I am. I really have almost no idea who he is. You've watched him on television. He's a TV personality in Ukraine, right?
In Ukraine. He was born in... Interesting, you know, Julia was born in the...
Eastern Ukraine.
Eastern Ukraine, if compared with other candidates. Poroshenko, it's like very close to Crimea, to Black Sea.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but Vladimir Zelensky is from Kryvyi Rog, is like in the middle.
Oh,
from
okay.
Kiev, and from Kiev, from Odessa, and from Donetsk. It's like in the middle. And he's 41, nice
looking
family, nice looking. He had I don't know his background, but I think he's from, I don't know, do you hear about such a movement, or like a KVN in Russia? It's like club of I can't translate, but it's like a fun club. Not it's like people who, it's like Soviet game when people, comedian people, but not professional people, start to make small shows, and it's a competition between comedian teams.
Okay. So it's like a comedy, kind of like a comedy club or something.
It's a comedy club, but not like comedy club is original. Like in comedy club, usually one guy makes jokes, yes. But in Soviet Union, it was like teams of this humoristical teams. You know, like originally it was a team from universities. Like one university has such a team who creates some very short performance, or like talking jokes, creating jokes, or creating some special humor shows.
Yeah, we say in English like a comedy skit. They get up, they give a small comedy
skits, but it's a team, not the leader. And he is the leader of this team, and one of the most successful. And I think what important is he's successful financially as well. It means he has like a native team, not like for election, but team of his friends, of his colleagues. And of course, it was like a joke. What in the beginning, nobody take it like a serious idea. And interesting, I didn't see this film, but as I know, during last 2 years, they create this team, his team created 3 films. I will film like a comedy about president, but not about Poroshenko. Means I will translate. I forgot. Serve, yeah. It's, you know, what's the name? What's the English for it? For example, I'm aristocrat and I have a serve.
Oh, servant. A servant.
Servant. Yes. And name of this film is the Servant of People of
the people.
Country, of the people. Like, you know, people. We can say that president is the servant of the people. Yeah.
Right. There's a public actually in America we call them public servants. They serve the public.
Public servant. It's the name of this. Okay, it's a right translation. Public servant. It's the name of this film, and it's like, as I understood, it's like all expectation of people about the president, and it was very popular. It's very successful film, and
that's the name of his party. I'm looking in Wikipedia. The name of his party is Servant of the People, right?
Does he have any party? As I understood, he is independent candidate now.
Oh, but it says, but he said, well, it said, I'm just reading from Wikipedia. It says the political party Servant of the People was created in 2018 by people from the TV company, who created the TV series. So it sounds like from that TV series you're talking about, they took the name and made it like a party. That's what it says here in Wikipedia. Just one interesting thing, I'm looking at his family. So this is just from Wikipedia. He comes from from Jewish parents. His father is a professor of cybernetics and computer hardware. So his father is a serious academic.
He's normal Jewish guy. He's normal Jewish boy, you know? I think.
Right, but a very serious father. And his mother is an engineer.
Yeah, they're intelligent, very intelligent.
Like from the intelligentsia. And he studied law, I guess, in Kiev. But he's never worked as a lawyer. So he studied law, but he never worked as a lawyer. It sounds like his career has been in comedy, no? That's been his real career.
I think, as I told you, it was it's a KVN, it's a club of comedians from universities. And usually people, I think they're half of showmen in Russian TV, they came from this show about comedian shows, and this is from 19. This movement, it's like it's beginning from 1970s.
Oh, okay.
Like, and I think it's important that his generation, like my generation, people who was born in 1978, 70s, and we don't remember that Soviet Union was something terrible.
Right.
Because it was pioneer organization. It was nice. It was friendship. It was nice. We don't have some bad feelings about Soviet, that it was no freedom. So, of course, we know about this, but it's not our personal
and just to be clear here, he was born 1978, so he was 12 years old when the Soviet Union he was about 12 years old when the Soviet Union dissolved. So yeah, he lived his early life in that period. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And like you say, I have many friends who lived in that period of that age group. And if, for example, their memories of school, of going to the university, are very positive. For them, it was a wonderful time. It wasn't a time of oppression or anything. No, it was a fun period. And I think in Russia, I think for foreigners, maybe they're not aware. When you go to university, the connections you make are very strong. Much stronger, I would say, than in European universities or American universities. There's a group, they put on these comedy shows, and there's a nice connection there. And,
and now I'm reading the Russian Wikipedia, and it says that in the graduated class of school, he created the team of this comedian show in the school. It means he's a real comedian and he's a real leader, nature. And I think it's the base of his show now. This is...
And just one thing that maybe you could help us who are not familiar with him. When you watch this show, what's his personality like?
Who? He?
This man. What's his personality like?
My opinion, he's not the best comedian. Not the best comedian in his team. But he's leader. And I think he's really, like sometimes the best comedian, the best actor is the leader of team. No, I think, first of all, he's a leader of team. He organizer or somebody else. Maybe he's producer. And what I like, he's not... at least he looks like somebody who in the middle, but not in the middle like a compromise.
Right.
But let's talk, let's think about our country. Let's think about, and for example, his answer, journalist asked him what his plan, what is his plan about Donetsk? And he said, of course, we need to stop the war, and we need to explain people that they are our people, they are Ukrainian, and just like involve people to their country back. And what about his show? No any insulating phrases to Russia.
So he doesn't attack Russia in his comedy
show?
No.
Time to time to Putin, but very diplomatic. Nothing, not so...
right, so it's not...
or unrespected. No, but
it's not aggressive. It's not aggressive comedy.
No, not aggressive. I like it. Very funny. And I told you, they have jokes about Western influence as well. And as I understood, they don't like influence they really want to be independent. And interesting, in his interview, and as I understood in his program, he said that he will he want to be president only one
term
period, one term, just to change the situation, and then just we will see. And about Crimea, for example, he said directly to journalists that he said that you understand when situation with Crimea will change, when power in Russia will change, that's government in Russia will change. It's like realist, not he don't promise.
He doesn't want to start a war. He doesn't want to start a war to reclaim Crimea.
No.
He accepts the current situation, and when politics change in Russia, maybe it'll change, right?
Yeah, he's, I think why people could like him, because he says about family, he says about that people tired from the war, he says about some normal things, just let think about ourselves, our lives, about our people, about our life, about our children. So as my opinion, at least now he looks very natural. He says that it's not depend on somebody.
Okay.
Of course, he understands that it could it's life, and oligarch has their power, but interesting. Why I like his show. They are not aggressive to former president as well, former president Yanukovych. There is no we hate them or he blame everybody.
It's not angry. They're not angry with.
No, it's like ironic.
Right. Sarcasm,
but no.
Now, I guess the final question is, does he seem presidential? Does he seem to have that leadership quality? Because most people wouldn't think of a comedian becoming president. No.
I think he is very wise, at least, and he is a Jewish guy. It's important. I didn't see this film, but he created his image, because in this film, he is the president, I think. That's why he is very smart. I think he's smarter than he looks like.
Okay.
This is my opinion. Like, I will not surprise if he will be Pentacle as well, but we will see.
Okay, let's get to the reading. So I'm going to start shuffling. I've been shuffling while you were talking. I've been shuffling, no? Just to let the cards pick up a little bit of that vibration of this guy. We explored a little bit his life. So you tell me when you think you're ready.
Stop.
Hey. Okay. So, well, first king, we'll see.
And what the card is? What the card of in the bottom?
Now we did 3 readings, right? In the last reading, he clearly came up as King of Cups, and we get the Ace of Cups.
This is the bottom now.
Yeah, this is the bottom, okay? Mm-hmm. So it does seem like there's some connection between him and that King of Cups.
Should I say?
Interesting. So we had two kings. We had the king and the queen of pentacles. Now he's an Aquarian. And we got the king of swords. Okay. So it identifies him more with the thinking process and not sort of the practical, sort of material, sort of political side. It's more of an intellectual exercise for him.
Yes, and he's from law degree. Yeah.
So now I'm going to cut the deck. So you tell me, I'm going to move my fingers up. You tell me when to stop.
Stop.
There we go. So, first card, what covers him? Ooh, interesting. The Hermit. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is more difficult. So, with the other two candidates, it did seem pretty clear. I remember with Poroshenko card, it was victory, no? I can't remember what covered her.
Her is Nine of Swords. Covered Page of Cups.
Now, this being a major arcana, so what covers him? We've talked about, okay, who's going to win? How are they going to get involved in? But what this is about for him, in a sense, is introspection. The Hermit is looking in, is looking inside. He's shining that light on his inner life, but in a profound way. It's major arcana, no?
I think for him it's a challenge, a personal challenge. At least in the interview, he said like it's like that yeah, we had hopes after revolution that everything will change, but it doesn't change. And it's like his decision, and he said that during his decision that he will go to the election, how to say, he understood how family is important for him, something like this. And I think now he feels loyalty.
Loyalty?
No, alone.
Oh, he feels alone. And you know, one thing about looking at this card in this situation, you said he feels alone. So Poroshenko, fine, has been president now for how long? Pretty long time now. It's been what, almost 5 years, 6 years?
From 1920. Yes, 5. It's a 2004, I think.
Okay. Tymoshenko, she's a career politician. She's been in politics for a long time. You must imagine that somebody who's a comedian who decides to get into a presidential election and all of a sudden is winning, there have to be moments when he says, what have I gotten into? Because imagine what this means. Being president of Ukraine at this time in history is incredibly difficult, the responsibility. So it could be that the real question is, is he ready for this? Emotionally, it's not easy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of an interesting.
Even in interview, he said even from decision that he will become the candidate. Environment is changed, he said. Yeah. Something like this, because I see the correlation. Okay.
And so he definitely has to go through this process. No, what's stopping him from doing this? Wow. This would clearly indicate, I think, his wife.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's crossing him? So my guess is the wife is not
happy.
Is probably not a big fan of this. And I just want to see his born education, notable work spouse, Olena Zelenska.
She's very beautiful, smart, and even in interview, it was very clear to see that she against of this. And she admitted that she was against of this idea, but now she tried to be supportive, tried to be
try and help.
Helpful, good wife. Yeah, something like this.
But
I think it's not. It's against of her vision of their future, and she's a writer of scripts. You know.
Oh, so she's in the entertainment business.
In his team as well. You can you imagine? You have a good husband, family, kid. As I remember, they have a daughter, and financially
good,
and she's professional. Feel good because she's a script writer of all these scenarios of this show. You know, everything is great. You know, maybe I think I can imagine, and everything is good, yeah. And country loves him. Money is coming, yeah, and something. And suddenly, husband said, "You know, I want to do something more, and it will be very risky for us."
She probably wants to strangle him.
I'm sure she will, because you can imagine even during this interview, she was not nice. Not nice. She was nice, but not happy, and it was very easy to see. And even when journalists asked her, "What do you think about to be a first lady?" And what first lady is like your orienteer, yeah.
Right.
She said, "You know, I don't think about this. I try to. It's too easy, too early to think about it. I think, to be honest, she will be happy if you will not win."
But from the reading, the cards are saying that she is probably really pressuring him to really think about what he's doing. And that's where that hermit comes in. I just want to make one point, though. In Plato's Republic, Plato, many people probably think of the Greece as the birthplace of democracy. Plato despised democracy. It was the lowest level of leadership for him. And one thing in the Republic that I always think about today, Plato said we should choose our leaders from people who don't want to do the job, but we think we need, and we pull them in. They do it as an obligation. So it's not like, make me president, I want to be president. No, it's, I don't want to do this. We need you. Come help us. So that, I think there's a certain appeal to somebody who's not absolutely obsessed with becoming president. So just to throw that out there.
And I think you're right. It's for me, it's correlation with, and Aquarius is always not about the only material stuff.
It's more about change, and interesting ideas.
And Aquarius, they are about ideas first.
It's an air sign.
Yeah, and first of all, man, Aquarius, even if he's a constructor, he will think about something.
Yeah. More. So it's interesting. So what's below him? What began? Now this is interesting in this case. So what got him into this?
How this crazy idea will come to his mind?
Anxiety. This could be anxiety about the country, no?
I think so. At least it's all about from his interview. It's like a. But he was, he admitted I'm disappointed, and we are disappointed, like, like generation. And especially our generation is like, we are quite young, yeah, just to say, okay, life is finished. And moreover, most of people have a child, and they need some new country, some good country for their future. Yeah.
So now, okay, now the long-term outcome of this for him, the distant outcome. Interesting. The Ace of Pentacles. This is very, very, very positive card.
Yeah.
For long term. Let's just leave it there. Let's leave it there and see what comes next. Recent past. Heartbreak. Again.
Third of Swords.
You wonder if the relationship with his wife, what is going on with his wife in this situation? Because you have the Queen of Wands crossing him. My guess is that his wife is very much against this. Very much against this. Imagine the responsibility. And let's be honest. The president of Ukraine has Putin pushing down on him. I mean, how many politicians were killed in Ukraine by Russian services, Ukrainian services, who knows? Then on the other side, you have the CIA in there. You sell your soul to these people. You are not a free person. When the CIA calls you and says, we want you to do this, what are you going to say? No? Look what happens to people, to leaders who push back. So these seem like young, very intelligent people. And maybe he's gotten himself into a situation that his wife realizes. Imagine the life of a comedian on TV. It's fun.
Successful comedian, very successful. He in Russia, we are looking his show. I understood he has a good financial, of course, not chocolate factory, but for normal family, it's much.
And popularity, and he can affect the culture, but through media, not actually having to be the president. So interesting. So near future, the Page of Pentacles. I wonder what this means. The Page of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles. What could that mean? Now, this is tricky because, I mean, this reading seems very clear. You wonder if that has some relationship to this whole thing with his wife.
It's like a personal story. Yeah.
It does seem like a personal story. And who knows? Is there another woman involved? Does this guy have a girlfriend somewhere? Who knows, right?
Maybe.
But this seems like now, I know a lot of people will say, well, Pentacles is Earth and the page represents Earth. We'll take it on a different, you can get very esoteric with this. This is just how I read cards. We all need rules to read cards, okay? So this is more personal for me. Court cards are people, period. And if it absolutely can't be a person, fine, then I'll use the element. But I just like that rule in my readings has usually in the end, actually I had a reading very recently where it made no sense until the end of the reading and the person said, I know who it is. So I'm going to leave this a little bit here, but my guess is this is either his wife or imagine he has, there's another woman,
but not his daughter.
I don't see how his daughter, because he has 2 children. I don't really see how that would play into this. Okay. So let's see. How does he feel in this situation?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's fighting. fighting with the wife, fighting with the family, probably fighting. Imagine all of his friends, the production team. This must be.
But it's
fighting
for
in
him. It's more like a game, yeah, not like serious, like a competition.
How is he seen? Interesting. Interesting. The five of swords. This card indicates it's defeat. It's defeat. You're vanquished, beaten.
He was beaten.
Yeah, that he's. This is obvious. This is a defeat. No. You see the battle's over.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Advice. The Queen of Swords.
Women's.
This guy's got. My guess is this guy has got. Now, this is interesting. Let's see what the final outcome of this card is.
What?
What did you just say? You said what were your words just now? Women. He has one major arcana in this reading, which is what covers him, the Hermit. And the final outcome is the Empress. I think he wins.
I think so. It's like Ukraine, you mean?
I think he wins. But what bothers me is how he feels and how he's seen. I think this card represents not so much, because remember we said before, this is more of a personal reading. I think this represents his inner circle, the people around him, family, friends, co-workers. I think that's what this card sees. They see him as somebody who has given up, lost one thing, and traded it for another.
Mm.
Because it doesn't make sense from the electorate. But as we said, this reading was his wife. His wife began. Maybe a wife, a girlfriend, who knows. And I think this card represents more his inner circle, not the electorate. And very interesting, the overlooked factor, the Queen of Swords. His wife, you know what this could mean? This could mean that his wife is maybe somehow, or some woman connected to him, is going to become important. But as a final outcome, the Empress, you can't argue with that card. That's a fabulous card.
Mm-hmm. And especially for me, it's like and Ukraine is family.
Yes.
And it's like he will win, but he don't understand what. Maybe it will be not so fun for him personally.
But the Empress is not a difficult. She's not I mean, she's beauty, she's love, and remember, distant future. So the distant outcome, it's very positive reading for him. Very positive. I mean, if you look at the two final outcomes, right? This is the final outcome, and then this would be the distant outcome, right? Here, you're looking at two excellent cards, right?
Mm-hmm. It means in financial support, yeah, and but Empress, it's everything is like a.
It's beauty. It's all this. It's Venus. No, she is Venus, and We hope that this card is not him, it's the country, no? The country, right? Yeah. Let's hope.
At least now, I think he believe in it.
Let's be optimistic and say that it's Ukraine wins all that money, that material gain. No, not just him personally.
Interesting. Absolutely different, yeah? Like energy of this reading of this spread is completely different. It's like a personal, and that it's about politicians, but this is about a guy.
This was completely about, because that first card, remember what's covering you is, and then all of a sudden with him, the Hermit. It's completely different. Completely. And I think, you know, looking at where did this all come from? Where did this begin? This card, the anxiety card, this could have been, obviously, this is not something he woke up one day and said, I'm going to run for president. It probably was a lot of anxiety. Should I, shouldn't I? The family, the inner circle. And remember, how he's seen was also swords. And so you got to believe that there was a lot going on. And this heartbreak in the recent past, remember, this heartbreak could be with the wife, but it could be with his group of, he obviously works in a team, no? That team could be very disappointed. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on here with him.
To cut many personal relations.
Of course. Can you imagine how his life is going to change? Imagine comedians. What do? They sit around, they drink all day, they have fun.
Yeah. Everybody, I say you, it's like everybody love you. Everybody. And now everybody will hate you.
At least, I mean, in the best case, the best possible case, half the country hates you. That's a successful politician, right? You have 55% love you and 45% hate you.
But in Ukraine, believe me, they in the how to say it? It's originally, or how to say it? It's like a basic mood of Ukrainian people is we don't like power government. It's like if in Russia we love our Tsar, but maybe sometimes we will create why that everybody that bad people around him and so, but it's not his fault. Tsar is good. He just don't know what actually happens, and so it's a very Russian mentality. But Ukrainian, like my colleague said, that I asked them, do you respect president as a president, like without connection of personality, just president? He's president. For example, for me, it's okay. He's president. I respect him before I know him about him something. Yeah, but they said no. He should prove that he to serve my respect. Can you imagine?
I honestly think that's a healthier idea.
Yeah. But it's much more difficult for a president to be president.
Much more difficult.
And you remember the first bottom card? Yeah, it was a good card. Cup of
the significator was the King of Swords.
No, but like on the bottom, you said like not significant.
Oh, what crosses you?
No, it's like a special edition card,
Oh,
when you shuffle.
Right.
It was Ace of Cups, yes?
Yes, it was the Ace of Cups, and we got the Ace of Pentacles here.
I think he had very good chances, yeah, at least.
I think he has a very good chance, and on a personal level, watch out for his wife. She could become, I think, something interesting.
You mean maybe Queen of Swords is his, not the not across him, but
imagine if he wins. The wife has no choice. What does she do? She divorces him, or she embraces the role. And who knows? She could be somebody who is influential, because they're saying that in this situation, it's more than advice. It's the factor we haven't thought about, the overlooked factor, and it could be her. She could actually become somebody who played an interesting role in things.
You mean in this reading, it could be the same person could be in the two position. It's like first role, it's like, and
absolutely, because
it's like advice. If your wife will be in your team, really, yeah. If you will listen to her, you will win. Something like this.
Something like that. Or we didn't really think about what the wife would do if he wins. I mean, what's her role going to be? And I think her role could be interesting.
I think so. She looks like really independent.
You said she's pretty smart.
Interesting, when journalists ask her about the first lady role and then she said, no, I don't think, I'm not thinking about this now because it's too early to think about this. But then they ask her, but will you make correction of his speeches? And
what did she say?
And she said, of course, very, very, of course I will.
And look, it's not the Queen of Cups, it's the Queen of Swords, the mind.
Yeah, and even she said, and Vladimir said, she said, I will, as I do now. All the scripts, all this, his words as an artist, and even she said, he says something, and you do work well or something like this, and she said, it would be better to make in during your conversation, during your talking. It's like I would be able to make correction during your speech. I mean she has a very big influence to him, and he respects her.
She might be the brains of the whole operation. She might be the better mind. It's possible here, because it's saying pay attention to her and not to her mind. Yeah, we should pay attention to her. Interesting. Okay, so just to finish up, we did a reading for all three. We initially did a reading for Julia. The outcome looked like she would find a role. She got a major arcana in the distant future, but it seems like it'll be a different role. That this is a work she's doing to achieve something, a different role in the future. Poroshenko's last card was the Two of Pentacles. He feels confident. We saw that, with how he feels. But you get the feeling that, remember, what's crossing him is this King of Cups. And in this guy, Vladimir, the comedian, the Empress. That's a fabulous card. You would think that he's going to win. And I guess his wife could play some interesting role in this.
Interesting, and a Nine of Swords, it was what was crossing Julia, but it's like a root of this.
Yes, very interesting.
It's interesting. It's like a different generation, She could be, she couldn't be his mother, but no, very young mother. She could be.
She could be a young mother, of him.
It's like different generation, and it's cross her, but it's make power to him, something like this.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. And what's interesting, the anxiety was affecting her, right? It was like really affecting her, but with him, it was pushing him forward. It's what got him in.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting.
So I think that was a very interesting exercise.
Absolutely. And
so what we'll do is, I guess after, let's look at this. Maybe we'll come back and take a look at this when the final results come. I guess in a couple weeks after the second round of the elections. I guess it'll be a couple of weeks when they actually choose a president. Maybe we'll come back and just see how we did, what happened. Okay.
And if you want, I will share with you in the morning before we decided. I just decided to make some short spread, and now I see the new. It's first of all, it was very good. I think, but it's first like what's the situation, what it will be in our future, what the like I will see the photo now.
A three-card spread. A three-card spread.
It's a four. It's a four, but okay, it's because I'm so like I like so much to reading now. Okay, but I want to. But I didn't ask about some special, about some candidate. It was like, now is okay, just now is 2 of wands. Okay, it's like a
potential
situation of the choice or something like that. Second one, it's like what will be in the nearest future, something like this. It's a 11 major arcana. It's a justice. Okay, it's again about election, yeah. And third, it's like what the environment. It was I think one of their favorite chariot.
Oh, I love the chariot. Yeah.
Chariots. And second and third and last one, it's like perspective is 10 of cups.
Wow.
It's very good, yeah. But interesting, you see 7 of chariot is like Ukraine. First of all, it's a blue and yellow. It's again to integration, yeah. And moreover, now I understand this guy. It's like a horses, yeah. But this guy is, according to Chinese horoscope, he's a horse. Yeah. And finally, it's the family. And now, when you say that his wife is very important, it could be, yeah.
And I like the connection between the chariot and justice. Remember, so chariot, the chariot is the 7th card of the major arcana. And it's really dominating on a material level, sort of the black and white horse, no? The spirit in the body. But when you get to justice, it's much more sophisticated. It's leading the just life. It's using wisdom to control reason, temperance to control the passions, no? And fortitude to control the passion, the temperance to control the appetites, the physical appetites, and fortitude to control the passions. It's that Platonic ideal of doing the right thing. And that's a very, very nice progression. It's a very nice progression. And the first card that you pulled there, the 2 of Wands, he's got the world in his hands. There's a lot of potential. Things can happen. But that's a very good reading.
But I read not about him, but I was reading
about the election in general. But I mean, for Ukraine as a whole, it's a nice reading.
Yeah. And I remember I tried to find a chariot. I remember your film when the unexpected winning. That's why maybe he will. Maybe we will haven't a second round, second tour. But I don't know.
But it's really nice. Let's just hope that whatever happens in this election, that it's positive for the people of Ukraine, you know, and that the country, because it's in a difficult situation, and so let's hope that this election brings something positive.
Yeah, and here's two towns between, and I like this card very much.
Good. So okay. I'm gonna stop the recording now, and
okay, but you will montage as you want.
Yeah, I'll do a montage. Hold on, let me just stop recording.